shut up and dribble.
The champ is here.
I must be the greatest.
The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes. Welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Yes, he's the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving a voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom, and we're covering it all, laughing at it all, while providing the platform to be heard. So, we do about this time, we have to welcome in another special guest. We're excited to have her, new to Las Vegas by way of Baltimore. We're lucky to have her, and she'll be the first to tell you that she's going all in, okay? So we got the VP of brand marketing of our WNBA Las Vegas Aces. Please clap it up for Deandra Duggans. Let's go.
I appreciate that clap, Jack.
You got. If you're gonna welcome, you got to bring them in, right? So, how we always start the show is we start the show with a shoot your shot moment, right? So we break the ice, get right in, and we want a story from you, a shoot your shot moment. So it could have been where you shot and it was all net, or you fumbled the ball, any kind of shoot your shot moment, but just something you want to share with the people. Go.
Oh man. Aside from my dating shoot your shot stories, I don't know. I feel like I've shot my shot a couple of times in my career. It's how I got one of my jobs in New York, kind of right out of grad school. I sent a blind email to one of the CEOs of an agency called SME Branding, and just said, "Hey, I'm not sure if you're hiring, but here's my skill set. Here's what I'm looking for. I think I could be a good addition to your team." And he created a position for me, so we went from there. So that was probably the most successful shot that I've taken.
Let's go. Okay, all right.
Oh, good. So, Deandra, where did your love for sports start?
I've been in love with sports for a long time, since I was a little girl. It started with my dad. I watched games with my dad all the time. It was kind of my excuse to sit in his man cave with him. And he had if you're going to be out here, you got to be quiet or know what you're talking about. So I quickly learned the game, and, he was a big football fan. He was a fan of all sports, but, he was a Commanders fan. We're from DC. So that's, true to my heart. So I had to sit there and learn the game. So from there, I just stuck with it. He taught me how to play basketball. That was the game that I, grew up playing. So he never let me win a game. Always shot rainbow shots. Still to this day, he talks the most trash about how he can take me. So that's where I fell in love with sports. I feel like that's like the brown sugar. What you call in love with hip hop?
That's right. Let's go. Right. So you said Commander. So you
pretty easily too.
Yeah,
no hesitation, no stutter, nothing.
Right in there, let's go.
I got to get used to it, and I respect the process, right? Being in the industry and being in brand marketing, I understand that arduous process that they went through. So I'm going to respect the name, even if I have my personal ideas and thoughts about it. It is what it is, and it's the Commanders.
It's some of the personal ideas. You don't have to go hard in the paint, because like you said, and we'll get into your career later, but understanding what they're going through and being a brand marketer and stuff like that. What are some of the things that, that kind of through the process that you kind of, maybe your antenna went up a little bit?
I'm gonna say this: I don't envy what they had to go through. It's a process, and I don't think in any team name that they would have come up with, I don't think anyone would have been 100% happy with. So they were in kind of a lose-lose situation. I think they did the best they could with what they had. My personal take, being from DC, I don't necessarily connect with Commanders. I don't really connect with a military feel. I don't think anybody that's from the city will tell you that we're a military city. That's just not what we identify with, to be quite honest. So, but I get it. Again, I have my own personal feelings. I feel like they're leaning more towards Virginia, so just keep going to Virginia. But they did the best they could with what they had. I know that it took fan focus groups, it took surveys, it took listening to a whole lot of people, a lot of ideas, weighing a lot of different options, from licensing to how to execute a good rollout and how it will work with your partners, and kind of having looking 10 years, 20 years down the line and seeing where the Commanders fit with the team. So my hat goes off to them. I know it was a long process, so I'll take my fan hat off, put my marketer hat on, and tell them good job.
So I guess a little bit into the fan hat. I know DC they're not new to this. I mean, the Wizards are now formerly known as something else. But what was it? Was there a team of choice? Was it the football team? Was it the basketball team? Like who was the fandom? Who was your team?
Literally the football team.
I was all DC everything. I'm gonna be honest, all DC everything. And I worked with the Ravens. I just came from the Ravens to the Aces, and the Ravens have a special place in my heart now too. And when I started there, they asked me, were you a Redskins fan? I was like, I was a little afraid to answer, but the truth is I was like, I grew up there, so I didn't see many Ravens games on TV because they were playing at the same time, and my dad was putting Washington on the TV. So, but I respected the organization. I learned a lot from them, a lot about them, and I mean they're one of the best organizations in football. So, I'm a dual fan. So Ravens, Washington, Commanders, whatever. That's where it is now. But all DC everything. The Wizards are going to win the East one day. I don't know when.
Okay.
One day is right.
One day is
Listen, I watched the Mystics win a championship. I went to the World Series when the Nationals won the World Series. It's coming, okay? District of Champions one day.
Wow.
One day.
District of Champions.
District of Champions. Hey, sounding like a true Knicks fan.
We'll see who gets there first. It'll probably be the Washington team.
My expectations aren't that high. I'm just
Likewise.
Even though he put a bet out there. All right, so coming up in DC, but you went to college at NC State. So how did you choose that as your school or your college of choice?
There was not a lot of it wasn't a very long, arduous process that went along with that. I wanted to leave DC. I grew up there. I wanted to get out of the city. I wanted to leave home, like most 17-year-olds want to do. A lot of great options in DC, but I just wanted to go away and just grow up a bit and be away from family. I chose my colleges based on the basketball team and then also who gave me a scholarship. And NC State gave me the most money. I went to NC State on a pre-vet scholarship, so my major was animal science. I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. After my second year there, I quickly realized that was not what I wanted to do, and what I thought a veterinarian learned in undergrad was totally different from what it actually was. So I changed my major, midway, and the rest is history. So I loved NC State though, so I didn't want to leave the school, even though I was changing majors. It was a good fit for me. I love NC State. I love Raleigh. That's like my second home, and I have special relationships and friendships from that experience.
That's awesome. And they're doing a little something in the tournament right now. So as you said, part of it was the basketball side of things. So I mean, let's go. Especially with the women. The women are killing it right now, right?
Women are killing.
They are killing it.
Are killing it. Like
they are killing it.
Back and bringing home a title. So where are they at right now? Are they they're in
Sweet 16?
Right? Yeah.
I'm trying to not talk too much about them because I don't want to jinx them. So I'm cheering them on. I mean, but I'm not trying to jinx them. So I feel like I have that much superstition in me. So I'm not trying to jinx them. So yes, go State, go Pack, and
So for somebody that went to a ACC school, so a Power 5 school, and a fan of basketball, how big is March Madness as an alumni? Do you take it seriously every year? I guess this depends on the team, but how much do you enjoy it that much from your perspective?
I do, and I like the upsets, except for when my team is involved. But I like the upsets, just like anybody else. I mean, I don't know how anybody can't like March Madness. And of course, you always have a chance being from a Power 5 school. NC State men's team, with our better years probably, are a little bit behind us, but the future is bright. But we always have a reason to cheer for, when March Madness comes around. So, and it's always good to cheer against Duke and Carolina when I have a chance. So I'm petty like that.
There it is.
I was with you till Duke. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's,
I get it, but dang, that's tough.
I'm sorry.
So like Hove said, you've been throwing the dynasty sign, right? So question for you is, did you cross when you were at NC State, or did you when you went to Georgia State? When did you cross and become a historical Black college sorority of the Deltas?
I crossed in undergrad, so I crossed in the Mu Omicron chapter of NC State University, Spring
Did you say
05.
Omicron?
Mu Omicron. Not to be confused with the Omicron variant.
I just want a clarification, like my ears sometimes would have these headphones on all the time. But okay.
Mu Omicron.
All right.
Yes. So best years of my life. Love my chapter, love my sorority. Like I said, lifelong friendships, lifelong relationships.
So what did the sorority life do for you in school as a student? What was the benefits of it, crossing them versus, crossing the alumni down the road?
I don't think I really wanted to cross. First of all, I didn't know it was an option to cross alumni chapter. My only, before I went to college, like my only perception of Greek life was, a different world. I didn't know much about, I didn't know much about Greek life until I got to NC State. And well, actually, that's not true. So my favorite high school teacher, she was a Delta, and I didn't really know what it meant, other than that she was a Delta and she was dope. So when I went to NC State, the Deltas really kind of took me in, and not on some we want you to pledge our sorority type thing. It was really just them kind of looking out for me, just as a human being. I liked what they were about, about community service, philanthropy, leadership on campus, things like that. And it really wasn't much about what I could get out of being in a sorority. It was just more about what I felt like I could add by being in a sorority or add to the sorority. So, I enjoyed my time, and even postgraduate, when I left NC State and I went to Atlanta for grad school, I was involved with the alumni chapter in Atlanta. And, you really can't go too far without running into someone that's in your sorority. So, that's one of the benefits of being a part of a sisterhood like that. Like, you always have someone, looking out for you. So.
That's awesome.
So I'm a big fan of college sports and the value of what college does for you in general. So I know you say you changed majors once you got to school. Just talk about that process of kind of learning more about yourself and finding yourself, and why that change happened, and obviously the benefits that came from that change.
Yeah, so my parents didn't go to college. I was like one of the first in my family to go to college, so I didn't really have much, to glean from. Like I said, my perception of college was what I saw on TV, and what my teachers in high school told me. So, but I knew I wanted to go. I knew that it was, what I needed to do to get wherever I felt like I was going. And I had no idea what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, to be quite honest with you. I knew what I was exposed to, and that wasn't really a lot. Like, I had no idea that you could have a career in sports. I had no idea of a lot of the different career paths you could take. I only knew what I was exposed to. So that was, the general doctor, lawyer, teacher, those types of careers, and a few extensions of that. And so, going to college, that's kind of the opportunity where you can explore a lot. You can learn about yourself, learn about the world, learn about different cultures, learn about just so many things. And that's kind of what kind of took place. And, I went through that maturation process. So when I realized that I didn't want to be a veterinarian, and it just wasn't for me, I just spent some time the second semester of my sophomore year just exploring different classes in different colleges. So I took business classes, I took classes in sports management, I took classes in the College of Natural Resources, just trying to explore, things that I had an interest in, to see if it was something that I felt like I could do for the long term. So I really like the marketing classes. I like the business aspect of marketing. I like the creative part of marketing. And then I also like sports and the sports management classes. So I talked to my advisor, I talked to a few different professors, like, how can I blend these two worlds? And, they told me, go talk to the athletics department, talk to people there. And I met one of my mentors, Dr. Laquita Frederick. She's at Georgetown now. And she kind of, she gave me my first shot as an intern with the women's basketball team at NC State. And that's really where I got to see, like, okay, this is like how you develop marketing plans. And this is what happens, behind the scenes, and how this big production actually happens. It's so much work that goes on behind it. So that's kind of, how it played out for me. And from there, it was just, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to be a part of.
Well, that's always good, right? Because half of it is learning or finding out what you don't like. What you don't like is just as well as, finding out what you want. Hell, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So,
and it changes, right? And I think it's
Yes.
so weird to ask teenagers or kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? They don't know. They don't know what, they have no idea what the world has in store for them. And like I said, what I'm doing now, I still have things that I still want to do when I grow up, right? Like, I mean, there's so many things you can do in life. You just do it all. So I don't even pressure kids now to figure it out. You have your whole life to figure out what you want to do. Just do everything. Do everything that interests you.
Sure. And what I love about what you're saying is you keep mentioning the world. The world is huge. And I was having a conversation with somebody today, like, yeah, we got to live outside of this little community at some point if you're able to.
Yes.
The world is big. Talk about the importance of building relationships. As we all know, sometimes in the sports world, and I think probably every kind of business venture is about people and about relationships. So talk about how important that is of building those relationships.
I mean, it's important. Everybody tells you, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And everybody tells you, you got to network. And I'm not the best networker. Like, if you tell me to go to a networking event, I don't like it. But
that's EJ. That boy is.
That's the mayor of
that boy is. He's special, boy. He's special.
Hold on, he got you. You can't start talking. You just don't let him get that in your head. Don't.
I already know it.
He already know. Yeah, she already know.
Already know. Listen, before I came out here, and literally like 4 or 5 people told me you need to hit up EJ. You need to talk to EJ. You need to meet EJ. I'm like, okay, if one more person tells me about EJ, and I had already met EJ like years before like National Sports. I was like, I already know EJ's in Las Vegas. Anyway, so but that's a talent, right? That's a gift.
It is.
Like I'm not really good at small talk. Like I'm not, but I'll shoot the breeze. So if you don't call it networking, if you call it something else, then that's that. I mean, I'm all for it, but like just networking just for the sake of like, what do you do? Like that's just not me. Like I'd rather just build a relationship. Like let's talk sports. Like let's talk about something, and then if we bond from that, great. And if you need me later on down the line, great. If I need a favor from you, sure. But I don't really like the term networking. But it's important to develop relationships. It's important to know people. So that you can, like I can text EJ and say, hey, I don't want anything from you. Just letting you know that I'm here in Las Vegas. If you have something going on, just let me know, and I'll take it from there. So, the job that I have now is from a relationship that I built, when I was in Atlanta about 10 years ago. Just having someone who, like I said, people say it's not about what you know, it's who you know, but it's also about who knows you and who's going to speak your name, in a room. Like I had no idea that she was talking about me or she was even thinking about me, but my name came up in a conversation and that led to me having a conversation with the Aces and that's why I'm here. So relationships are super important and I don't take them for granted. I just kind of approach it differently. I'm really not. I don't like to ask for favors. I don't like to ask people for things. So like, if you need me, cool. If I reach back out, cool. But yeah, it's still important though.
I'm the same. Well, I don't like to ask people for anything though. That's 100%.
You're more of a connector.
Yeah,
right?
I'll extend. I'll give, but I that's my. I don't ask for anything, which is. Been told not a fault. It is a fault, whatever. But we're not talking about me. It's more back you. So let's switch it to this is part we like to call in the game and really just talk about your career, right? So the two main things I think me and MH probably want to talk about is just kind of your role with the Ravens. So you've kind of mentioned that. So how did that come about, right? Because you mentioned you shot your shot and got a job in New York. You've done some other things working with the DC, I want to say it's the DC Events Bureau, but you've done some other things. Mm-hmm. How did the Ravens come about?
Honestly, I feel like it was just opportunity, coming at the right time. I applied just like everybody else does on the website. I honestly, and that was probably
That's crazy.
The 32nd team in the NFL that I had applied to be honest. If you're on Teamwork Online, I was looking at it like a year ago and I had applied to over 100 jobs, right?
Hit them all.
I'm going to apply, but I don't know if they're going to call me back. But the Ravens did. I got further along in the interview process. And I was like, oh no, oh shoot, this might be happening. And the Ravens weren't on my radar, like everybody has that team where they're like, oh, I wish I could work for my dream team. And the Ravens weren't my dream team, but I think what you realize quickly when you get in the industry, like it's really not about the team that you work for, it's about the work that you do. And that's probably, and working for the Ravens is probably the best thing that could have happened for me. Like I said, that's a special organization. I learned so much. They pushed me out of my comfort zone in ways that I would have never, done for myself. And all of that just kind of helped me really grow. So I owe a lot to them.
So super generic question. Can you talk kind of more into detail as much as you want to share about some of the work that you did do with the Ravens during your time there?
Yeah, sure. It's multifaceted. My position there was director of advertising and branding. So that was, dealing with the media plans and helping to support our ticket office and marketing all of our ticket offers and helping to sell season tickets, supporting our community relations department, pretty much exposing the general public to everything that the Ravens were doing on the business side of things. So events and fan engagement opportunities and activities and initiatives and things like that. It kind of grew over the course of time that I was there. My responsibility became greater. I led a huge rebranding project with the Ravens, managed our creative team, developed the campaigns for the season each year, worked with our broadcast team on our commercials and things like that. So, it grew over the course of time. So I got a taste of a lot of different departments and it was fun. It was a cool gig.
Did you get to work with any of the athletes on like any kind of individual, or did you have to kind of like when you're creating the campaign, did you think like who would fit this, as far as putting someone in the front of those certain things?
Yeah, somewhat. So working with I didn't work directly with the players as it related to like trying to get them marketing opportunities or pushing them forward, so to speak. The Ravens have a very team approach. So they don't really like to push any particular player forward more than another. Obviously, you have your star quarterback, Lamar, who's going to naturally be the one that's, at the helm of things. But we want to make sure that we were also telling the stories of the other players because that's important. Like Lamar doesn't win a game by himself. And we also, like the Ravens, if you know much about the Colts, when the Baltimore Colts were in town, and I didn't know this until I joined the organization, but they were very, that blue collar feel. Like they were in the community, like they had regular jobs, like, and football was their second job. So they were like working in town. So people saw them all the time.
The paychecks wasn't what they are right now.
Exactly, right. You weren't getting those deals. So fans got used to the team being so much a part of the community and things like that. And they felt like they knew them. And that was something that really like carried on when the Ravens came to town. And that's something that they really try to reinforce now. So we try to make sure that we spread the love, and we got, we wanted fans to fall in love with the guys in the trenches. Like you should love our offensive linemen as much as you love, the linebackers and things like that. And obviously personalities are going to come through more than others. Right. But it was important to tell the collective story. So trying to balance that was very fun because there were some years we had superstars that everybody loved, and there were some years where it was like, we don't really know this guy, but we're just gonna try to figure out a way for you to love him anyway. So,
gotcha.
No, that's really important. I don't think sometimes, to the novice fan, football or anybody, any sports team is the players on the field or the coaches. I think we all know that the sports organizations are so much more in the community. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, those players and coaches move around, but the franchise, the team, is ingrained in the community. How important is that? I guess in this case with the Ravens, you're kind of building fans. You're building the fan base kind of from scratch, particularly in that area. So, how important was your job and your team's job and efforts to kind of grow that natural fan base there, different than what was going on with the Commanders or the Redskins at the time?
By the time I got to the Ravens, they're pretty ingrained in the community.
Yeah.
But they in a very unique position because they're considered a kind of a small market team. Baltimore is sandwiched between, you got the Commanders, You got the Eagles to the north, Pittsburgh to the north, and the way the marketing territory is set up by the NFL, like you were kind of confined to Baltimore and a few other counties in Maryland, with the exception of Prince George's County and Montgomery County, which are kind of like the two biggest counties in Maryland that you really want, but the Commanders own them. So anyway, so we really had to fight for every fan. Like we had to earn every fan, and they really had a very grassroots approach where it was, we need to see, feel, touch our fans, be in the community. Like they weren't too good to be at any event. And that's kind of what I'm taking from the Ravens and kind of trying to implement with the Aces, like the whole idea of earning fans. And I don't like the concept of sitting in an ivory tower because we're a sports franchise and we only come out when it benefits us. It's like, no, like we really need to be a part of the community, and we need to be a part of the conversation around basketball in Las Vegas, like the high school basketball scene. We need to be a part of that. We're the only professional basketball team in Las Vegas, so it would behoove us to be to lead the charge in anchoring basketball and helping to grow the game here in the market. So that's some of the things that or some of the philosophies that I'm taking from the Ravens and trying to, make sure that we do with the Aces. And it's a long game for sure. Like it's not like we're going to hit the ground running tomorrow, because there's a lot of things we also have to do to play the game of basketball, for the season. So, but it's, like I said, it's a long game, but it's something that everybody in the organization is on board with. So it's we're excited to be a part of it.
Well, you are here now. So now with the Las Vegas Aces, very excited to have you here in the town and all that you will bring with it. What is one of the, I think, what are you most excited about, right? Like, because you're going from the Shield to the WNBA, right? That is in I would say, and MH and I talk about this, is in a prime spot, right? Like you guys are in a dynamic spot where you're pivoted to like rocket off, right? There's some opportunities right now. So what are some of the things that you're thinking about or you're looking forward to getting into this role?
Yeah, I think this role will allow me to do purposeful work, and I think it's beyond growing the game of basketball. I think I look at basketball and the WNBA as kind of this platform for one change, and just a platform for girls and women to just feel empowered. I have my own stories about how the WNBA helped me as a little girl. When the WNBA came to town in DC, like that was like, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like these women that look like me are balling out. And I was in love with Cheryl Swoops. That was my favorite player. So anytime she came to town, I was like, we got to go see Cheryl. My dad bought season tickets for the Mystics. So, we were all in like that. And watching the 90s.
We pause on that, right? Because people don't understand how effective and how important that is, which is kind of why we have this show.
Yeah.
And we do it from a visual standpoint as well, because to see it is amazing. So thank you for sharing that part.
Yeah, like I was, playing basketball with the boys in the neighborhood, and after when that '96 Olympics, 96 Olympics team like won it all, and everybody saw Dawn Staley and Cheryl Swoops and Jennifer Azzi and Lisa Leslie was just balling. Like that changed a lot of things in the neighborhood. Like it's like, oh, girls could play. Okay. So and then like they started buying Cheryl Swoops shoes and things like that. Like it like seeing that like with my own eyes, seeing that change happen, like that was impactful to me. And I have the pleasure of working with Jennifer Azzi. She works with the Aces now, and I tell her like every now and then, like, I don't think you understand your impact. Like I don't think she gets it. Like because she was in the moment. I was like, Jennifer, I don't think you get it. Like you don't. So yeah, I am fangirling a lot, but I don't forget the question, but I see basketball, especially for girls and women, as a platform for change. We saw how the WNBA led the charge in 2020 as far as social justice is concerned, and putting their livelihoods on the line and being on the front lines of trying to use sports as a platform to spark conversations and to change the world, so to speak. So. I'm excited to be a part of that. I'm excited. I look at the WNBA as, they're still in this growth stage. And a lot of people think the growth stage is supposed like 5 years is instant, and it's not. Like it's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some, peaks and valleys, I always like to say. And it's going to take some time to get where we're trying to go. But But I'm not comparing our success to we're trying to get to where the NBA is. Like that's not where we're trying to like that. No, that's not the bar. I don't think.
Right.
Success is just defined differently for all leagues, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. Like you mentioned, the NFL is a juggernaut. It's king. Like they got it. It's a machine at this point. But it's obviously some good things to learn from the successful leagues. It's from their failures and their successes. So I'm excited to be a part of the W.
Yeah, you really mentioned you touched on it. Some of the icons that are giving back to the game now as well. The head coach here, Becky Hammon, was obviously one of the icons of the New York Liberty and Silver Stars as she kind of continued her basketball playing career and now in the coaching career. So, how big is that within the WNBA? Some of the icons of the sport giving back to the game now and helping it continue to grow.
I think that's super important because they can see like what it's helpful for them to be able to learn from somebody who was there in the trenches when this thing started, and who can tell you like this is all the things that we had to do to get fans and the time that we spent just spending time with fans because we knew that was important to grow the game. And all the things that they learned what not to do as far as how to their career, as far as their career is concerned, even from financial mistakes and things like that, or things that they wish they would have done when they were players. I think that that's a learning opportunity for the current players. And I think that's important. And I think, now the WNBA is old enough where you have those players who played, initially, then they're able to come back and they're able to give back to the game in these capacities. And, Becky Hammon is the coach, but there are several former WNBA players that are assistant coaches around the league and also in the front offices. And I think that's going to be super helpful for, moving the W forward. So we're excited to have Becky. I don't want to. We're waiting for the Spurs to finish their season, so she can, get to town. But we're excited. We're super excited.
Yeah, they'll be done in a couple of weeks. They about to be wrapped up. About 10 games left. Yeah, them and my Knicks, they're gonna be done pretty quickly. So.
Oh, the Knicks. They had so much. The Knicks had so much promise early in the season.
I'm telling you.
Don't gas him. No batteries in his bag. We did a whole episode on last season that the Knicks are back, and I was definitely premature. Definitely.
Don't worry, they're coming back.
I appreciate that. We coming back next year. We got to play next season anyway, whether it's going to be good or not. We coming back next season.
Still got the Zion dream. Maybe he's going to come to the Garden with you.
Yeah,
man.
maybe. We'll see.
All right, so I'm putting you on a hot seat a little bit. All right, so I think we don't often have so MH and I do episodes called The Locker Room, and it's just me and him just talking about topics. And a lot of times, sometimes we're on the same accord, sometimes we go back and forth. And we did one on a quarterback that's in the division that you just once left, right? So being a VP of marketing, how would you deal with, or what were some of the things that you would attempt to do if you were on the Cleveland Browns and you had a new quarterback coming in?
Oh, gee.
That is a loaded question.
That's tough, right? And I mean, because we need that female perspective too, right? Because sometimes, like, just hearing some of the stuff, it's interesting.
Yeah, I would probably have some questions, to be quite honest. I don't know how the Browns organization operates and how open they are to the feedback of their employees or how comfortable people are in speaking up. But I know for the team that I left, I was comfortable speaking up, and I felt like I could voice my opinion. If there was a move that was made that I felt like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Right.
Obviously, I don't think that move can be reversed, but I think a conversation probably needs to be had with the women in the organization to see how they feel about it. That's tough. That is a very weighted question, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with it. But it could happen. I mean, obviously, it could happen to any of the teams. So, I mean, it's something you really do have to prepare for. There's going to be, there's always decisions that are made at the top that you really, even if you voice your opinion, it's like, we're going to make this decision because it's the best decision for football, right?
Football, right?
Right. And That's tough. It's like you could. I don't know.
I get it.
I would probably question. I would ask like what their future plans are. I'm stumped.
Yeah.
I'm stumped. Like I said, I'm stumped. That's why I haven't said anything about it, because it's like I really don't even know. I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like,
and it's so many layers to it, right? Like you
layered.
mentioned just a couple that I probably didn't even think of. So that's one of the reasons why I asked is because we need that perspective, right? So it needs to be that kind of conversation. So yeah. Definitely a lot of layers of that.
It's a lot of layers, and unfortunately, there's probably some people who do have the job of promoting the game, and they have to promote said person as a result, and they might not be comfortable with doing so, morally speaking, and that's a tough situation to be in. That I hope they're having conversations internally about how to handle that. But yeah, you just stumped me, so I don't know. I really don't know.
No, it's a definite tough question, and I just kind of wanted to put that out to you, just kind of get just open that perspective, right? So
yeah, I think it's easy to say, "Oh, the Browns are wrong for that decision, and they don't respect women because of that decision." It's loaded. It's loaded. It's
the whole separation of art and reality, right? Or art and work, right? Like what someone's doing on their home life versus what someone's doing in the office. So definitely a tough one. So spinning off of that, man, I'm gonna jump off of that.
Thank you.
No, and like definitely attempted to preempt you. Like that was a hot seat. But we definitely want to make sure that we get because we're from only a male perspective, but just kind of going back into just work perspectives. So one of the things that my therapist, counseling that I've had is that I don't do well is celebrate the wins. So can you talk to us about how or if you celebrate the wins and how important that is through your career, or how do you go about doing that?
I'm not that great about celebrating the wins either. Or at least I didn't used to be. I'm trying my best also, because my therapist too has told me that I need to celebrate my wins in different words, but same theory. But I do think it's important, especially, I mean, more so for your own personal sake. Like it's important to feel good about where you are and where you've come from. I don't think it's braggadocious. I think that sometimes if you don't speak up and show people what you've done, or even show the people who matter what you've done, then sometimes you won't get to that next level. It's kind of like sitting and waiting for somebody to give you a raise. Sometimes you got to tell them, look, these are all the things that I've accomplished, and this is why I deserve a raise. And they'll be like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. You know what? Maybe I should give you a raise. Like that happened to me. It was like I could sit there for years, like just waiting for somebody to notice what I've done. And then somebody finally told me, I was seeking advice, like, how do I get promoted? How do I, get to the next level? And they were like, you need to write down everything that you've done, in the organization, all the value that you provided, present it in your performance evaluation, and put the value that you think is associated with what you, how you should be compensated, and have a conversation. And it worked. Like it worked. I was like, oh wow, it was that easy. Like
there's a gym. Yep, there's a gym. Y'all catch that? There was a gym that was just dropped.
You have to advocate for yourself for sure. And I don't think we do, especially women. I don't think we do a great job of doing that, because I feel like it's just trying to balance humility and bragging about it. And I think sometimes you just have to. And if you don't, who else? You can't wait for somebody else to brag on you.
Yeah, talk about being a woman and sometimes in a male-dominated sphere, so to speak, in sports, and speaking up for yourself. Where did that develop throughout your career?
I think it came with age, and it came with being just comfortable in my job, and comfortable in what I was doing. Like, a lot of that celebrating your wins also helps you to feel comfortable and confident in what you are capable of doing, and feeling like you kind of got it under control. But it wasn't always that way. Like a lot of people had to pour into me and kind of reinforce and encourage me to that I did know what I was doing, because the imposter syndrome can easily, sneak in, and you can feel like, oh, I don't belong here. Like, what am I doing here? They're going to find out that I'm a fraud. And you're like, why would they think you're a fraud when you have these credentials, you've worked X amount of years, you've done these things, in your career. Like, you have to just, own all of that. So
that imposter syndrome is real, though.
It is. And the more that people who saw more in me than I saw in myself kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone and, forced me to talk about things and forced me to, speak up and take leadership opportunities and lead projects, like the better I became at it. And sometimes, and I don't feel like I'm overconfident sometimes, but sometimes I have to, what I'm learning now, like coming from the NFL to the W, is like, in meeting situations with the NFL, like I had to be like they'll tell you, like, you got to be a pit bull. Like, as a woman, you have to be a pit bull. And like now I'm trying to unlearn all of that. Like, I don't have to be a stoic in a meeting. I don't have to be like, this is it, and I'm overconfident. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can relax a little bit. So it's battling like those identities and what you're being told on this side versus what you are being told on this side. And I'm honestly trying to just unlearn a lot of things.
Get it? Definitely get it. So, MH, it's time for them quick hits. You ready?
Yes, sir. So, Deandra, just kind of a few random questions, more kind of get to know you kind of things, kind of first thing that pops to your head. So, first time, if ever, that you've been starstruck?
Probably when shoot, it's supposed to be quick, right? I would say when I don't know how old I was, but the WNBA All-Star game came to DC, and I got tickets to the game, and I stayed afterwards, and I saw Cheryl Swoops, and like I said, she was it for me. So I was like, that's Cheryl. So
if we building a kind of a soundtrack or album on your career or on your life or who Deandra is, what? Give me the first two, the intro. Give me one of the single bangers on there, and then give me a outro. What would those songs be? Just 3 songs.
One of the songs has to be "Motivation" by T.I. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the song, but it's
You can sing it if you want.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that note.
Hit that note.
Shoot! No, I'm not going to sing. I don't want to embarrass myself. Shoot! Man, I'm gonna just go with T.I. It's gonna be T.I. 3 times.
What? No, Whitney in there?
Well, Whitney's not. That's not really the soundtrack of my career. That's
okay.
Life. If you want to talk about life,
huh?
Sure. T.I. Motivation.
We're not sneaking in Thug Motivation 101 or Jeezy in there.
Well, I was about to say I'll sneak in. I'll put Nipsey in there.
Okay.
But I'm blanking on the name of the song. It's the one where he's like, almost forgot what I was doing. Almost forgot where I was going. What the hell have I been thinking? I forgot the name of the song.
Yeah.
Y'all need to get on it. Come on.
Yeah, we can talk about. I just wanted you to keep going.
I'll put some Whitney in there, but
okay.
I mean, it has nothing to do with my career, though.
I got you. DC kind of icons, athlete-wise. If you had a top 5, who would that be? Any sport.
Any sport, DC icons. Shamika Holdsclaw.
Shamika Holdsclaw, I like that.
Yeah. Because she was like one of the first women to wear like these foam pauses, and like everybody wore these foam pauses in DC. Like I really remember that. Shoot. I'm not good off the cuff. I'm not good. Dennis Green. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of a Wizards player.
We're gonna be thinking for a long time for a Wizards player.
Stop it.
Maybe somebody from DC. I'm thinking of a basketball player. This is yours. This is not mine. I'm just thinking
a basketball player from DC.
You can say MJ if you want to say a Wizards player.
No, that don't count. 2 years don't count.
Kwame Brown.
Kwame.
No.
I'm not gonna say that, Kwame, because he'll come back and he'll ride you. I'm talking about somebody from KD. Ain't he from DC?
He's from PG County.
That don't count.
That don't count.
It's
Yeah, I
not,
thought
that's not
he
DC.
don't claim DC like that. Don't he claim DC?
He does, but he's from Pleasant.
well,
so I'm
so there we
from
go.
actual DC.
All right,
so
well,
if you say from
sorry, KD.
All right, I'm calling
Sorry, you don't
Clay.
make the list.
it wasn't. He wasn't the first person that came to mind. Sorry. I like KD though.
Ain't Mike Beasley from that area too? Or he's not from DC either.
Yeah.
No. All right. Well, okay. Sorry, both of them.
Next
He
question.
might be. I don't know, but I'm not.
Next
KD. I like
question.
KD though.
All right, cool. Let's get to movies now. You a comedy person, drama person? Which one?
I like. I'm a big romance person. Romantic comedies, but I really like. I like all the Black movies. So Love Jones and The Wood and
yeah. So The Wood or Love and Basketball? Which one? This is
Love and Basketball.
Okay. I'm good right there.
That movie was very transformative. It came out at a very pivotal point in my childhood, my teenage years. So it meant a lot to me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take it. I'm good on that one.
Yeah. Once you didn't say The Wood, it was over
Wood,
for you.
man.
I like The Wood though. I could quote The Wood word for word. I love The Wood, but if you ask me, either or.
Either or, I did.
I gotta go with Monica and Quincy.
By the way, that's my starstruck moment. I always say this. I ran into the Quincy McCall's dad. Yeah, and that's the only time I've been starstruck in my life.
Dude? Really?
The Allstate dude.
You were starstruck over Allstate.
Why he do Quincy like that? Yeah, had that man all messed
see,
up.
I don't like the Allstate dude because he was in Waiting to Excel and he did Whitney wrong. So
see,
so I wasn't a fan of him. And he cheated on Quincy's mom too.
That's what I'm saying. He had Quincy messing all up, tore his ACL, doing a two-hand layup. He had that man terrible. Yeah. All right.
That just went off the rails.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
And those were quick hits. So
I'm sorry. I'm long-winded. It's a long-winded hit.
It's all good. So let's jump into the platform. And I'm pretty sure we'll weave back some stuff in there because I don't think the people understand it, how much of a Whitney fan you are. So, so that's why I asked the question. All right. But anyway, we're jumping into the winner's circle. The winner's circle is just kind of your platform. And, we always like to shine a light. That's what we do here in Black in Sports and let you promote what you're going on because we are more than just, what we do. So just kind of what's amazing is when I ask you what your platform was, there was nothing directly that you were promoting currently. But in the future, of course, there's many things that are on the way. But you really wanted to just talk about the support of women's sports. So, I applaud you on that. And that's amazing. So your quote or what you sent me was support women in the market, check out games, tune in, show up. So how can we do that here in Las Vegas? And how can people do that in other markets? What are some ways or what are some things that, you want to see us and our listeners do?
Like I said, show up to the games, watch the games. Don't get on Twitter talking about, I wish they could dunk. Okay, they're not. So, but the women. These are the best professional basketball players in the world, and they play amazing basketball. So go to LasVegasAces.com, check out our schedule, come to a game for sure. Support your
are on their way right now, right? Y'all are starting that season ticket campaign.
Yes, it is currently in motion. So you can purchase season tickets later down the line. You can purchase single game tickets. So if you just want to catch a game or two, that's totally fine with us. Just come through and just see what these women are all about. Also support the local college teams. They need your support as well. And again, just don't jump on social media trying to disparage athletes because that's not how we protect Black women.
Hey, speaking of local, our UNLV girls just won the Mountain West Conference. So kind of mirroring your NC State ladies, our Lady Rebels are, definitely holding it down in the basketball arena. So, we need to know that. We need to support that.
Yep, support that for sure. So yeah, that's the only message I have. Like I said, I don't have anything that I am currently doing as a passion project at the moment. I'm sure I will have something coming up as soon as I, get my wits about me and get my feet planted in Vegas. I plan to figure out, how I can contribute to the community. And I'm sure EJ will tap me into those opportunities soon. But I can't wait. Like I love. I feel like you have to be a good steward of the community that you're in, and give as much as you take from it. So yeah, soon I will be tapped in.
So I need some advice, Deandra. So I am now a girl dad, 2 years now.
Yes.
And I would love for my daughter to be in sports if that's what she wanted to do, whether she wanted to compete or whether she wanted to be in the business. But advice for me, maybe some things that, you mentioned your dad earlier, that how he did to kind of uplift you and, push you to your passions. Any advice, I would definitely welcome it.
I would say just support her pursuits, even if it's not sports, even if she's into art, just support her, help her nurture the talent, help her find her talent, expose her to as much as possible, and let her kind of find her way. Don't trivialize her, don't tell her, oh, that's for boys, that's for girls. Like, just let her do her thing. And that goes a long way. Like I said, I'm in my 30s, still telling stories about how the support from my dad affected me to this day. Like, that's super important, and it's important for her to see that from her father. So just support her, just nurture her. Don't be that father in the stands, being all loud. My dad used to, like, my dad never would say anything at my games, but afterwards he'd be like, "Now, why didn't you hustle down the court?" And I'm like, "I don't need that right now." Like, but he just wanted to see me when he wanted to see me do my best, so he supported everything. So just support. If she want to do ballet, go to her ballet practices with her. Like, show her that she has your support. That's super important. And congrats on being a girl dad. It's gonna soften you up a little bit.
So, you did teach at Georgetown. Are you still looking to teach? Will you be teaching? And what led you into doing that?
Yeah, I'm actually still teaching at Georgetown online. So I was teaching at Mount St. Mary's, which is a smaller school in Maryland. I was teaching an undergrad course there. One of my mentors, Dr. Frederick, she is the director of the graduate program at Georgetown currently. So she reached out and asked if I was interested in teaching. So I told her yes. So I've been doing that for a few years. So still doing that. We'll see how it goes in the summertime, because I did pick up a summer term, and we'll see how it goes, knowing that my season is right in the summer. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but I like doing it. I always have this. I think everybody says it. Be who you wish you saw when you were young, or something like that. Be who you needed when you were young, type thing. So I just want to be there to teach what I know, and provide some mentorship and some advice where I can to help build up the next generation of sports business professionals. So it's important to me.
Do you think that's you mentioned it? It was a question that I had randomly, but with the season being in the summer, do you think that's an advantage for you and get into some of those younger girls and younger boys to out to the games and opportunities for them to see the Aces play?
I don't know if it's I don't know. I mean, it's working so far, so to speak, because you're not running against the NBA season or NHL season or NFL season, so you kind of have that that summer. But it also lends itself to a lot of distractions. People are vacationing, they're doing other things, but kids are also available. The youth is a very strong market for the WNBA. The W takes advantage of the camps and the basketball camps across the country, the basketball tournaments. Those are big drivers for the W. So that's prime time for that. So I think that it is a great opportunity and time for the WNBA. Some people could probably argue like, oh, we're exhausted with sports by that time, but I think it works. And yeah, it's been working so far. So.
All right. So MH, any last thing before we jump off?
Good, brother.
So this is what we like to call the assist. All right. Or you get to drop some coaching gems. All right. So this is where we ask you to either share like words you live by, maybe a life philosophy or something you would tell your younger self. So just share. It could be a quote. It could be just a mantra, but just drop us and the folks a coaching gem.
I say all the time, like the motto that I usually live by is do good anyway. And it's it's a whole list of things that go under that. If you Google just do good anyway, all of these things will kind of pop up, and it's like, no matter what the world is giving you, give your best anyway. People will think that you're out for selfish, you're doing good things for selfish reasons. Do good anyway. So that's the motto that I live by. I try to do good in the world. I try to treat people well, and I just try to live the way that God wants me to live. So that's my motto.
Let's go. All right. So really quick, where can people get in touch with you, social media wise, or what's the best way for people to connect?
Twitter, I pronounce it D-Dugs. It's a nickname that I was given in grad school, but it's DDUGGS and the number 11. That's on Twitter and Instagram, so you can connect with me there.
Awesome. Any final words, MH?
No, sir. I'm all good, Deandra. Thank you very much for your time and all the jewels. Shout out to you. Congratulations again for the new gig, and excited to see what you do here in the city.
Thank you, guys. It's been an honor. I'm excited to have joined you guys tonight.
Absolutely. Let's go. Well, we want to thank you. We want to thank you, the people, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. As you know, we drop new shows every Thursday. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because visual representation matters. And, we are on every podcast situation. So whether it's Spotify, iHeart, Google, we're everywhere. So make sure you check us out. And please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap and back.